Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Hungry Howie's Mr. Football update. It's that time of year where we are literally down to the wire when it comes to the voting now in the Mr. Football contest. Joining me each and every week, the voice of Wayne State football, Sean Belizean, who, of course, does so many things for state champs. It's hockey season right around the corner, so he'll be pontificating on a lot that's going on the ice. But right now, we got a football season to finish, and we got a heck of a competition and some guys who, quite frankly, have stuck around a little longer in the playoffs than maybe I thought they would.
Well, and you know what? Let's start right there. I think Brendan Sullivan is a guy that maybe some eyebrows were raised when we put him on the list. But in the group of people that we talked to, there were two people, without mentioning names, that were adamant. You got to get this kid on the list. You got to get this kid on the list. And you know what, Lauren? It got to the point in time we couldn't deny him any longer. And then people kind of thought when they made it in the playoffs, what a cute little story. Hey, that's great. And then they got one win. And then they got another win. They just keep winning, and this is looking really good on Brendan Sullivan. I think we've talked about this all season long. You've already seen interest in this young man from some of the MAC schools out there. I think the interest is going to do nothing but continue to grow. People pay attention. It isn't just us. It isn't just our committee. People pay attention in money time, in crunch time, and this is a kid that keeps producing.
Yeah, who'd have thunk they would have got revenge on their Week 9 loss to Lapeer. That was a game that he actually got them to overtime, but this one convincingly, 42-21, first district title for Davison since 2008. And that year, they actually went to the semifinals, and the 42 points helped the Cardinals eclipse the school record for scoring with 484 points on the campaign. Sullivan, 16 of 25 passing, just a shy under 200 yards, a touchdown, and this is a week after posting nearly identical totals against Romeo, in which he was 12 for 18 with 197 yards.
How about Donovan Edwards and West Bloomfield?
Yes.
They are just rolling. A 35-0 win over Plymouth. Ho-hum, just a 4-touchdown performance from Donovan Edwards. And that team is another team. Boy, it's hard to believe a few weeks ago there were actually some people saying, what's going on with West Bloomfield? I'll tell you what's going on with West Bloomfield. They are a powerhouse yet again. Donovan Edwards made a strong case for himself with a 4-touchdown effort.
Absolutely. C.J. Harris, the quarterback, got hurt. Donovan Edwards had to go under center. So basically playing wildcat for most of the game. Touchdown runs of 32 yards. He had a short run of 1 yard, 47 yards, and 35 yards. And this is a West Bloomfield offensive line that has replaced all three of their interior linemen earlier in the season. But this group has just been playing better and better. But they've got Belleville this weekend. It is truly a clash of the Titans between these two things. So it's really going to be interesting how Donovan Edwards does on the offensive side, and how about the team they'll be playing in the quarterback under center for them.
Unbelievable. I mean, first of all, Woodhaven, we talked about this last week. That's a good football team.
They were undefeated.
Belleville just rolled 67 points. And Christian Dew-Reed, how about this? 13 of 17, only 4 incompletions, folks, 6 touchdowns. They are just rolling right now. I think everybody remembers West Bloomfield, Belleville last year. I had a chance to see that. This could be an epic matchup. And again, hey, listen, here are the stakes, at least for our exercise. You got one guy in Donovan Edwards. You got another guy in Christian Dew-Reed. Might it be an elimination game by our standards? That's something to look at. But first and foremost, going to be a great football game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This really is going to be a great matchup. You hate that they have to play in the regional. I'd love to see it later on in the playoffs. But bottom line is they're meeting. It's going to be really interesting to see how that one turns out.
Well, you know what? Let's take a look at Walled Lake Western. You know, all year it almost felt like we had to defend our choice of putting 2 Warriors on there. It's not something that we do, so we had to go out of our way to explain it. I don't think we have to explain it anymore. These are 2 guys that keep getting it done, as the Warriors do. They knock off Fenton by a score of 49-21. How about this? Trainer goes for 6 touchdowns and 421 yards. And a big part of that is Yassine with 2 touchdowns and 157 yards. So, you know, you're talking about a situation where one of the best quarterbacks in the entire state of Michigan is throwing to one of the best wide receivers in the entire state of Michigan. And there's some darn good football players here. And Walled Lake Western making us look smart, including both of these guys on there by virtue of their 49-21 victory.
Absolutely. I'll see them this weekend in the regionals. I'm looking forward to that. Trainer threw for 421 yards, tied the school record, and 6 touchdown passes. He's 49 for 66 passing in the postseason. It's a 74% completion, 9 touchdowns. And one of the guys he's hitting most of the time, 18 catches, 302 yards, and 4 scores in the postseason for Yassine. I've got them really, I believe, making it to the state finals. And the team that I think that they'll be matching up with the state finals is a team who's very familiar with the state finals, and they've got a talented wideout as well.
Well, and you know what? You take a look at King right now, and what you're talking about with Detroit King is there are multiple guys that can hurt you in multiple ways. They got a massive win last week, Lauren, against Franklin. That's a good Franklin team. Calvert's a good quarterback. They got Gibson in the backfield. Franklin's a good team, but just no match for King. I get a chance to see Detroit King this weekend. This is my first time seeing them up close and personal. So many, many weapons, but obviously we have our eye on one of them.
Yeah, and Rashawn Williams is interesting. So he had 4 catches for 53 yards. You know, they put up 49 points. But there is more that a wide receiver does, and you know, it's somebody who attracts all the attention, and that's giving me more of an opportunity. Their freshman quarterback at King now is playing out of his mind. When you're scoring the kind of points they are, Rashawn doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to go out and win the game, as opposed to maybe when Donnie Corley was there for things. But the bottom line is they've outscored their first 2 postseason opponents by a 94-22 margin. As we go through all of this, and everything we're saying is all very, very nice, but Cam Martinez for Mustine is still playing with a chip on his shoulder.
It's just a different level. There's no other way to say it. And folks, we're going to be true to this process to the very end. I think that's what makes this so intriguing and so much fun. But I think if you followed high school football, no matter where you are, Cam Martinez is just on a different level than everybody right now. Their awesomeness, and that's the only word to use, awesomeness continues. They get another convincing win, a 48-10 score. And, it was interesting because a couple weeks ago, Lauren, we had the conversation, what can you say about Cam Martinez that hasn't already been said? Nothing to this point. There's nothing that we can add, but you know what they want to add. And that's state champion.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about for Cam Martinez.
Yeah, and the way they lost it last year, they are all playing like they have something very, very much to prove. Through 2 playoff games, Cam has carried the ball 39 times for 516 yards and 11 scores. In the first half of the playoff opener against Marquette, 69-7, that was their win. Martinez racked up 293 yards and 7 scores, and 223 yards and 4 scores against a good Cedar Springs team. They actually trailed in that game, which for the first time all season.
He may be the clubhouse leader right now, and he is. I think if we're being true to the process, he is. But that doesn't mean anything. Not right now, it doesn't.
Because we were at this exact moment last year.
Sure were.
So we've still got a lot of football left to play, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know this, though. The voting part of this competition will end this Tuesday. That would be the 19th. So November 19th at noon, we're shutting down the voting. That means whoever is in the lead will be the automatic People's Champion, and he will be into the Final Four. We will then select, as we go through our process, the next 3. So there is going to be a very good football player or 2 who are going to be left off our Final Four, and unfortunately, that's just the way this thing works.
It's a nice problem to have from a fan standpoint, though, because it really goes to show you how Michigan high school football has gone up and the caliber of player has gone up. And, Lauren, we're seeing guys come from all over the nation as well. When you see Clemson poking their head in, Bama poking their head in, it's a great problem to have. But, as Lauren, you said, we can only have 4.
Yeah, so you will get your Final Four next week. We will reveal that sometime late in the week, Thursday, Friday, before the state semifinals. And then we'll see how it plays out. Basically, from there, we'll take things through the state championship. Then we'll get in a room and we'll determine who's going to be this year's state champs, Mr. Football, presented by Hungry Howie. So once again, we'll talk to you next week. We'll give you our Final Four, and we'll let you know just kind of where this race is. It's going to be really exciting this weekend. Hope you get a chance to check out some high school football. We'll talk to you then.